Good evening. It's your one and only gatekeeper. Now, I had to change channels here because we have some trolls and shells out there that think they can flag programs. So we had to create another channel and we had to create another email account. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead program.
On right now. That's going to be your first hearing.
Right.
All right.
Yep.
First hearing is where you ask if they've got a claim. So there's no public claim. So now they're going to move public-private. So they're going to keep you public while making private claim.
Okay, and that's the second stage?
That's the second stage. The first stage is going to be, do you have a claim against me and all that other shit. The second one, you go back in there and do it again. Only this time you redo your paperwork from the first time and let them know. So now public-private. And the private has no claim. Right?
Wait a minute, what is that? What?
All right, and public
Yeah.
is where the public has a claim.
Okay.
They can demonstrate. A claim upon relief can be granted. It can be stated in public.
Okay.
All right? If it can't be stated in public, then the next hearing that you'll get immediately goes to public-private.
Okay.
Where the private has a claim and they can't state it. Because they can't give you the information, because under their rules to bring in the claim into the public, in order to get administration of it, there's a rule of civil procedure where you can examine all the evidence used against you,
right,
and including in Florida evidence rules. So you get Florida evidence rules, or the court has to take cognizance of the federal rules, because everything is federal anyway. So Florida has to take cognizance of the federal rules of civil procedure, and under 23A or 23B and all the evidence. So you accept everything upon proof of claim at that point, because now you asked for the claim the first time, nobody answered you. So now you're going to accept upon proof of claim to conclude your business. This is then concluded at that point. Now it goes private, where you have people acting in private claims against you through your property, through the entity you're using, the property. All right, that's where you come in. The common law is you guys never rebutted the claim in public, and no person shall be held liable. So therefore, what are you doing? Are you willing to? Are you here in your private capacity,
right,
or are you here in a public capacity? Because we've already disposed the public at this point. The second witness came in and said there's no claim in public. Now you have now it was the first witness of the no claim in private. Now you're the claim in private, and if there's no witness, then you get no witnesses. You got it? Now the public and private record match. There was no claim in public. Now there's no claim in private. Be dismissed, or else you have an act of war. An act of war, in the laws of nations, since they've abandoned their post to go to war with you, pledge support to the nation through the declaration. Get duty to keep with your creator to help defend the declaration, and the one who allowed you that access, the kingdom. That against the savages of pirate party, because now they're tax protesters. When they came in under, because it's an occupying force, occupying army, it's still here. That's what y'all show the video where the guy comes in and says they keep that alive. As long as they're keeping that alive to maintain their order, then under the rule, once they exercise the power of it, they just became useful of whatever they're doing. So if they're going to call you sovereign citizen, who's profiting from that arrangement? So they have to pay the tax against the subject, the object of the use of fraud, which is now personally at you. You're not proving anything right. You're using their energy against them. If this is what they're going to do, they're going to call you by that. All right, fine. I am that. And as a person, I have the right to do this, guaranteed under this statute at large, which is your governing body. If you're not going to do it, are you going to tell them you're going to go against your corporate charter, which is the United States violated their oath and their bond? Now they're warring with the Constitution. They're warring with you now because now they're creating they're violations of international law. Nuremberg constitutes a war crime.
I mean, it seems so simple. I have And this is a very deep-rooted, deep-seated problem. Bullied when I was a little kid by my father. Can't bring it out to.
Who the hell are you in there? Who the hell are you? Prove them?
No.
Or your father?
My father.
Then what the fuck do you care about them? Do you check?
Yes.
Then what the fuck do you worry about? But the there to test you to see how loyal you are to the father.
Right.
Not to see down to him.
I think it's even more deep-seated than that. It's more, I don't know, I keep going over it, trying to figure it out. I can't seem to figure it out.
Well, I mean, I don't understand.
I don't understand
You just keep it with the I am, where's the claim? All you have to do is understand what you're doing. And really what you're fearing is your lack of understanding situation.
Yep.
You fear that you don't understand it good enough. How do you overcome that fear?
Yeah, I try to understand it better.
There you go. So don't concentrate on what you're not good at, what you have to do to make yourself good at it.
Here's another take too on that, is that there are two things that cannot coexist: fear and faith.
I know that.
And so if you don't understand, maybe to take that.
That's why I say start reading the articles. You know, read the Elvic stuff. All you need to read is the first few months things in 1999 and 2000. The rest of these are more advanced shit.
The Elvic stuff
Yeah.
that you've got. What's the title of that?
What?
Oh, it's just the
The Elvic Chronicles.
Yeah.
Oh,
you set up
okay.
a whole new section.
I set up a whole new section.
Okay, I haven't seen it
There
yet.
people have.
I mean, I have gone into court quite a few times and been able to, like, if I just write little snippets of the points I want to bring across.
Yeah. The point behind this is you just have to have faith in what you're doing.
Right, and get from my heart. But
Right.
my point, when I've seen Judge Dittmer and even Overton, and I thought of something about Overton, and I need to get back to that, but I can bring up the points. The ones with Dittmer tried to show that there was a conflict of interest, that he works for the state.
All right, that's arguing with them.
Okay,
That's arguing with. The only thing you're
I
in
give
that
you
fucking
that.
court for is why the hell am I here?
Okay.
That's it. That's the reason behind the whole claim. Why the fuck am I here? It's a forensic investigation into why the fuck am I here.
That's the basis.
Yeah. That's the whole basis behind your whole existence on this planet. Why am I here?
Well, I've tried to suppress that question because I can't ever seem to find the answer.
That's what you ask everybody. Where's the claim against me that brings me into this forum that says you have some right to make me do something? Who the fuck am I to answer to you?
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
That's the whole purpose behind where's the claim.
Right.
You know, if you
Yeah,
have a
that would
claim.
be the whole
that's
basis.
the whole basis behind it. It's just a subset of questions to determine why am I here.
Yeah.
Because that's the ultimate philosophical question everybody has. Why am I here? Why am I
Okay.
here? Why am I here? What am I doing? What am I to do while I'm here? First, am I here? Do you have a claim against me that says I have some duty to do to you? Because that will answer the who, what, why, where, and when.
Right.
Well, we have this warrant. We saw the warrant.
Then why haven't I been presented with it so I may accept it? From the treasury. If it's issued from the judge made a private claim
Doesn't have
against
my name anywhere on it.
it. It doesn't matter. You're using that all capital letter name.
You will have.
That's the name public. What it is right now is just seen as you're being elected to be treated as if you're a U.S. elect yourself from that position. You have to go through the IRS to complete that record. You go to Social Security now. You go to Social Security in order to get a replacement card, so you get the Social Security card as the estate holder, and your account moves over to Chicago, right where it should be in the mercantile exchange. And then you're going to set up your trust, which is going to be an all capital letter name. Or actually, it's going to be your initials trust. And you set that up. The EIN with the IRS. You get the Treasury to be the fiduciary. Now they know the Social Security number because the election record of the private draws Social Security number of the private. Now you can hook up to it through the estate, and you take it over to the governor and seal the record.
I didn't get that, but we have it taped, so I can listen.
Seal the record.
Yeah, you accept it and have them seal the record. So that becomes the
And this is
deal.
done at what point?
At the very end. In order to get in order to adopt it, and the adoption becomes a sealed record. It shows delivery has been completed to the United States to complete the adoption. Therefore, no more public claims can go against it.
That's what Blake was talking about yesterday. Sealed.
Right, but you have to have a conduit to go to the other CIM because you have to have a domestic. So you have to have an estate manager 98 number you get. And then the 98 then for the estate number takes control of the social security number, and now it becomes a pledge. Okay. And now you get credit for doing public credit and private, and it's for zero every night. It zeroes out. Ding, 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 acts like a normal account during the day, and then at night it goes settled. Everything's wiped out.
Heard about people seizing the bond?
And then what you get is two magnets of the glass, one on the bottom of the glass. The bottom of the glass is your user. That's the private side. And in order to make this work, you have to find the way to drag the usufructuary interest over and move the naked ownership over, but move them both the same way. So what you do is you make the torus coil. You send them both out and then drag them both back. Send them both out and drag. And now you created your energy cycle. That's your conduit. Now you've created your loop within the torus coil that is society. Now you created your one strand. Now you're aligned. Perfect. Now you will engage. And now what will happen is start engaging because there's no choice but to start evening themselves out. Because the nature of energy. Once you complete your cycle, it'll work just like that. Your naked ownership, your usufruct is surrendered at the same time in the public. Now you reverse them by dragging your naked ownership back to yourself and control of it, which will drag it. So whatever you nurture privately, publicly, so you do your private work, boom, your naked ownership, and publicly the fruit comes back to yourself. And that's how this works.
Well, it sounds good.
No, there is no theory. It's going to be done. That's the way it works.
So before this first hearing, we're going to be public. We have to make certain things appear in the record to get down to the mechanics of this.
Yeah, that's why you ask them for the tax. That's all you do is ask them for the taxable termination that warrants the liquidation of this estate.
Okay, and that's something you sent over just recently, right?
Ask for what?
Yeah, that's what the whole what you're doing. Yeah, because you're going to put your assignment into the public through the record of your interest to the state, to the United States.
Something
Assignment separate for certificate, and you're going to put your interest into the public, and then you'll have a certified copy come out. So you're going to make two originally you're sending off to the Treasury, and the other one you're putting into the
county. Let's go through that first. I have a mandatory judicial contract. And this one here.
Something certificate, right? It was called a certificate or something.
And this deposition
assignment separate from
that was it. Assignment separate from certificate.
You see assignment separate from certificate. Here it is.
Yeah.
Okay. For value received and hereby.
You have to have that in place. If you don't have that in place, this holds no weight.
Okay.
Because remember, it has to be somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
So
The UCC is just a notice. It's not actually delivery.
Separate from the birth certificate. Separate from the certificate.
Yeah.
So for value received, the undersigned hereby delivers, assigns, and transfers as a special deposit unto, and it goes into the Treasurer of the United States. All the shares of preferred and common stock of the state of, and we put in Florida here.
No. Michigan.
Oh, okay.
And you would be United States.
Of the United States or just the United States?
Yeah, in the United States, because you're consular report abroad. You don't have a birth state.
Right.
Standing certificate name, so yours is going to be Lisa. In parentheses, mine is going to be James. On the books,
No, it's not. It's going to be Elizabeth and James Hedge.
Yeah.
James the third.
Yeah.
Not
Okay. Everything and doesn't matter. We issued everything. Okay.
Where'd you do your name change?
California.
Have you ever contacted California to get a certificate for the name change?
I have copies of that. The original name change documents.
There you go. And it's going to be California. Because you're going to get rid of and are both going to be done. Or if you're going to use then you got to put your name change certificate in with all your stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the decree of the name change.
That's the corporate.
Right. But you also do that, and then you do a trust with the Treasury, and now they become your fiduciary. So but it would get your EIN number, and then an 8832 of the EIN number takes the Social Security number into the private. Then you would seal the record, not just publicly private. Yeah, I've done mine too, and it's not. I haven't been acknowledged. So, but then what? Where you're operating privately, but your entity is still open to the public for charges, because that's where everybody's stuck in the middle. Who do this? So we're going to go private by sealing up that record in the end, because that's what you're about. That's all an adoption does. It seals the record. It seals the deal. All you're going in is to validate the agreement and give it a new name. That's it. You don't even have to do that.
Executed by first, middle, last. Okay. So here's what I pulled. I'm confused. But here's some originals. Depositional affidavit. So I got a couple copies of that. That doesn't matter. I can pull that off this side. Here's the German birth certificate. I have something called a report of child born abroad of American parents. I also have a thing about a report of a birth of a U.S. citizen, which is another document.
Okay, what do you have apostilled? I mean, what do you have authenticated?
What I have authenticated? The consular report of birth abroad is self-authenticating.
Okay.
So this document
I don't have
right
anything authenticated.
She has nothing authenticated.
Why not?
Because I still have to, because I got mine apostilled instead.
Oh, well, you need to get it
I'm
authenticated.
still working on that.
Okay, that needs to be
You got to
number
get it
one.
done like now.
Yeah, I
you
know.
need to expedite that.
I mean, that's nothing like you can wait on. It has to be done like now.
Okay. This is self-authenticating. They don't authenticate it because it comes out of the I even confirmed it with the
Yeah, I
Department
know.
of Records.
It comes out of Secretary.
It does come out of Washington, D.C. It already has a full faith and credit attached.
Correct.
All right, this is going to take a little while.
Well,
Because
you need to do that today. And
Well,
we're gonna get it in overnight
This
mail.
is something that I was working on like back in May. This is what I started working
you
on.
need to start working on
never
it in
got done.
October now. You need to work on it today.
All I didn't get done. All it is filling out a form and sending them a check.
And
Well,
it's Michigan,
first
so
I
you know
have to send a request for a
Yep.
certified birth certificate.
Yeah, you need a birth certificate first,
Right.
and then you got to get the Secretary of State of Michigan to authenticate it, and then you got to get the United States to
Correct.
authenticate it.
Correct. Because I tried to send the apostilled birth certificate to the Department of State, and they sent it back.
Right.
So because I have the wrong one,
Correct.
they won't authenticate an apostilled
Because
birth
that's already
certificate.
authenticated for the Hague.
Right.
It's already been used.
Yep. So I have to
So you have to do a whole new one and authenticate
Yep.
it for Taiwan.
Yep.
Now, if you have an original, you can also go to St. John's where we took these things. We had an original in the county.
Yeah.
Clerk's an original. That's an original. If it's got that seal on it.
Okay. You don't need to do all that.
I know,
You're the holder of the
mine costs
record.
$100 every time I order a
I understand that,
fucking piece of
but you're the holder of the record.
paper. Right.
You don't need the clerk to be the holder of anything. You can just make copies your fucking self.
You send copies.
Yeah.
You don't have to send an original to have it.
You send copies of it and put true and correct copy.
Come on.
You're a notary of your own fucking records, man. Why do you need them to do it?
Well, if I have to present somebody with an original,
Then you take a copy out of it and go here.
and they go, "That's
If
just
they
a
need
true and correct
an
copy."
original, you just give it to them. You're gonna
Right.
ask them for what? What the fuck do you need the original for? Here's a good enough copy. If they say what they're gonna do with it, then great. And you know, here's the original. Now you're the holder in due course of it. You're gonna have to surrender it eventually.
Okay.
All right.
So this is what I've got that's self-authenticated. Now, what I've done is I have accepted for honor and valuable consideration. And on the back, this is endorsed. Assigned reversionary interest in full to and for the account of the United
All right,
States.
this is your paperwork showing what you're doing.
Right.
The
But did I do
only
anything
thing
wrong with this
you
paper?
need to
Right.
is where is the warrant underwriting the taxable termination, authorizing your liquidation of the estate? In other words, we're asking who authorized this shit, and it better be the fucking Treasury.
Which we know it's not.
Right.
Right. But something tells me they're going to be scratching their head in there or be playing dumb and go, what do you mean?
Are you telling me there's no claim here today?
Well,
Broken
we have
record.
a warrant. Yeah, the cop said, well, we have a signed warrant from a cop.
Okay, where is it? Let me see it.
Right.
Hot damn. Let me see it so I can
Accept
Where
it
is it?
and assign it to
no,
them
just
for
accept it. You just,
accept it on proof of claim.
yeah, you know, just so you can accept it. So
Right.
you can take it and you can sign it.
So
That
you
means
can
accept it.
physically see it.
You want to
Okay.
physically fucking touch the goddamn thing
Right.
so you can flip it over and assign it.
So accept it on the front for value and value for honor and valuable consideration, and then flip it over and assign it to and for the United States.
And that's something
US
that you're
Treasury.
trying to get taken care of that day in the hearing?
What you're taking care of in that hearing is a court of conscience. Let them know there is no fucking claim. What you're asking for in private is for them to deliver you the damn instruments from
Oh,
the
okay.
Treasury so you can
Okay.
fucking
So
accept
that's
them.
the second.
You're not saying this shit in open court. That's where your mental health shit comes in. That's the reason, because you want to sit there and try and justify why you're there to them what's going on. Just ask for the fucking claim.
At the
You know
hearing.
what's going on in the background. Just ask for the fucking claim. This doesn't have to be a big production. This is just nice, simple, get in, get out,
Well,
get out,
that's
done.
what I'm looking for.
That's what I'm
looking
trying to
for
help you
something
with.
Plain and simple.
Understanding what's operating behind the claim when you're asking for it is the whole purpose of that article I put out. What you're asking for is all in red, which is 3 goddamn the
Right.
statement questions. When,
Right.
when you get to the end of the questions and they go blah blah back to D, because nobody answered the first fucking question.
Right.
So no matter what they say, you go back to.
Now they're only going to have a
Where
claim. That
is the
warrant and everything
claim?
else is all they have a claim against the estate, not against me. And I mean, am I
Dude,
bringing
are they
that
holding
out
you
in public?
personally
I mean,
fucking
is
liable
that-
for everything?
Yes, they
Then
are.
stop arguing with what's going on in that courtroom. Stop trying to be semantic about it. You fucking personally liable.
Right.
So do you have a fucking claim against me?
Against me.
Against
For
me.
the man.
Against me. You fucking arrested me.
That's
You're
what I'm
holding.
saying. That's
You
what
have
I'm
a goddamn claim against me. Do not go into the whole, or do you have against me or the name? Don't fucking do that shit. They're trying to merge everything into one. So fine, let them merge everything into one and go,
Right.
fine, do you have a fucking claim against me?
They're going to go, yeah, here, boom.
That didn't give it back to him. Was my understanding, pursuant to United States law, that as soon as I give it
But
back,
now
to you,
you're
it's done.
explaining shit to them.
You're just giving it back to him. That's what you're doing when you accept it and give it back.
Right.
Here, I've accepted and returned to you. Now I want the settlement.
You ask for that in public?
Sure.
Question that isn't on there.
Where's the settlement? Because you understand what's going on.
Right.
I'm not going to give you a process because then you're going to fuck yourself up. I want you to understand what you're doing. All right? That's why I write the site the way I do. I don't tell everybody A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Program
You
of
want
mine,
people
a
to
shitload
Right, no, I
of
get
mind
that, I
my
get that,
dead
but it-
zombies.
Right. You want
Right.
people to think.
No, I
I
know.
get that.
But when you're saying about what's going to be said in public, the conversation we had the other day was just like, look, if they start coming and they're going to go, okay, great, we're going to throw you in jail right now in contempt.
Do you
It's
have a
like,
claim?
well, wait.
Do you have a claim against me?
Yes, we do, right here.
See it. Okay. Why?
Contempt of court.
What court?
This court right here.
Where's the claim?
I just made it. I just.
So you're
held
making
you
a
in
private
contempt.
personal claim?
You're going to go to jail.
Then you accept, then you go, fine, I just accept your dishonor. And now everybody who comes near you, do you have a claim against me?
They're just going to cart me off.
Do what you want to do to
Okay,
feel
no,
like
no,
you have
no,
to
I'm
save
just
yourself,
saying.
dude. But what I'm
Right.
saying is, if they don't have a fucking claim, remember the first time you went in there and did that shit?
Yep.
What happened? Some guy came in and said, what are you going to do
We
about
called
the
the
judge?
case the next. The first time was in the 90s.
No,
No,
when you
no,
first
no.
met me,
Right.
when you first met me,
Right.
and we went through
Right.
what happened in that
The
case.
guy said, what are you going to do? Yeah.
Exactly.
I got visited by the men in black.
Exactly.
And they said, what are you going to do about Pierce?
Exactly.
And I said, I'm going to forget it.
Exactly. Back to the outcome.
They put me on the street that
There
night.
you go. Why are you worried about being arrested?
No, I'm not. I know what they're going to do.
Then you just keep on. Then you just keep on. Do you have a claim against me?
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only place you can go. And if he's going to make private claims, then he's going to make private claims. If he's going to say you're in contempt, gee, is that public or private? Public, you better have a claim. It's honor both ways. That's what your email told you yesterday. That dude, first thing he does is goes, is private or public?
Right.
When he's doing the claim.
Well,
So if they're going to go, fine, we're going to hold you in contempt. You don't say, is that civil or criminal? Is it public or private?
right.
This court publicly because there's no fucking claim for me to be not contempt in. I'm against the court. Privately, I'm in contempt because you're an asshole for against me using your position of authority. So I'm in contempt of your private court. No authorization. It just says force and wrong. I'm in contempt of both force and wrong. You're fucking goddamn right I am. What's there to you? Yeah, you're right. I am in contempt because I see no claim in public, and privately I see a bunch of dicks. What the fuck?
Just using their force.
Just using their force. Publicly, no claim. Privately, force and wrong. And there is no greater enemy of the peace than force and wrong. So what I'm in contempt of is by public, and it's saying I asked for the fucking evidence being used against me under federal procedure. That's part of the evidence. You either show me where the claim is or you have one. And then you're in dishonor. Now I can use the dishonor to get the PR bond, the public recognizance, go up and appear to the charges and plead guilty to the fact there are none.
Well, we know we gave you a copy of.
What about it?
What if he says that?
What about it?
Produce the original.
I don't really care.
Who's got the claim?
Now you're going to ask him if he has a claim against you. What's the chances of him saying yes?
Slim to none.
Right. I know when I was in jail, and I go, are you going to say that under oath? And they wouldn't want to talk to me.
Yeah, he's not going to want to admit that in open court.
Yeah, because now he'd be the one holding the warrant. So
Right.
if he doesn't have the warrant
Then
issued
he's
from the
fucked.
Treasury, not from the judge. The judge is making a private administrative determination that you were supposed to be there in front of him or something, so you could administrate some fucking estate, and you're the one using it. But you're also presumed to be, you're the one benefiting from it, which means you're the one who pays the tax on it, because you come in and act like a broker to broker a deal that gives a bargain to them for the use of the estate, which you agree to do when you do the plea. That's the civil assessment. You're acting as a broker on your own behalf. That's what self-employed means. You're employing this asset for the profit of self, because employ means make use of. So you're the one making use of this property, the Social Security number and all its assets for your own profit and gain. Therefore, you're the usufruct. That's self-employed.
Okay, and I'm going to ask what might seem like a dumb question.
Uh-huh.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm
No,
not.
that's bad. That's why you want to put the Social Security number is always an individual. So you always want it to be employed by someone else.
Okay.
You always do. When you're using it, you want it to be employed by someone else, so it has an employer number. And the employer then is liable for the taxes. But once your employer then assigns back, boom, it just creates that natural cycle. Because the employer's not profiting from it. The state's profiting from the employer's use of it. So the state, so your employership is being employed by someone else.
And that's tied to an EIN number?
And that's tied to an EIN number, which ties to your Social Security number that you put in private via the sealed record trust. And you're going to create a trust for it.
When do we do that?
After you get everything else done. We're in the process right now. I need y'all to understand what's going on, because I'm trying to help you through, because I have firsthand fucking knowledge of what's going to happen to you guys. They're moving for years, man. I mean, they're going to move from mental incompetence. That's going to be the next step. They're going to move for mental health. So you just stick with the whole, do you have a claim against me
got
shit.
the mental health thing. They already got a scheduled thing.
Again, I understand. Again, it's just, do you have a claim against me?
So if they say that up and the judge says that up at his bench and says, I move for mental health counseling.
Do you have a claim against me? It throws them in a position that if they do it, it's force. Now you go to mental health and go, fine. Do you have the claim against me? Because the judge said I had to see you, so maybe you're the one holding the claim. Do you have the claim against me?
So,
And then they're going to go, you didn't go to mental health. They're going to be like, Your Honor, do you have the claim against me? Because they didn't have one. So who was the claim?
Record. You keep going back to where
Because
is
nobody's
the
answering
claim?
the
No one's got a
question.
claim
Right.
against me.
right.
Nobody's answering the question. Where is the claim? And the claim is the taxable termination that puts the tax on the executor of your interests, which are you.
So taxable
It's the taxable termination authorizing and warranting the liquidation of the estate to account for the so-called debt.
So if I understand what taxable termination is, that will make it more clear in my head.
They're liquidating an estate. There's a transfer of interest from you to somebody who's qualifying themselves as heir or one to receive. The tax
Okay.
is on the transfer.
Oh,
So where's the taxable termination authorizing the transfer of assets that the estate is going to be taxed for, and you being the executor or self-employed of your own interests,
right.
the executor of your own interest or executor of your own estate, because that's all estate is interests,
Right.
then you get the tax as the executor of that estate.
And that's a good thing?
No.
Okay. That's why I'm asking.
That's why you're there trying to find out who has the claim, because you want the notice that it's been taxable terminated, because the taxable termination is a notification from the Secretary of Treasury that you're a fucking belligerent. And they're warranting the prize court to divvy up the estate, because you're in a prize court. All local courts are prize courts.
Oh.
Do you comprehend?
Oh. That was a missing piece.
You've been charged with this, therefore our remedy is to divvy up your estate such way, and we got the authorization from Secretary of Treasury. They skip this step and they go right to the liquidation. And everybody fights the liquidation, not understanding where the fuck is the claim warranting the liquidation, because it's bankruptcy. Involuntary bankruptcy they're taking you into, to liquidate your estate to account for the debt in the bankrupt position where the Secretary of Treasury says there's a belligerent and a debt owed for the insurrection and rebellion that they're coming to make collection attempts on. And now if they don't have it, what they're doing is they're forcing you to defend yourself to turn you into a belligerent.
Right.
That's why you don't fucking bring up all this shit.
Right.
That's what they're doing.
So
they're bypassing this guy over here to a new initial to do the claims themselves.
Okay. Who are they bypassing?
They're bypassing the Treasury.
Bypassing the Treasury.
They're fucking unregistered foreign agents. You go to FARA, you only find 459 agents who are registered to do business as foreigners in this country.
What?
None of them are
400?
Congress members. And yet it states anybody in the executive, legislative, or judicial offices of the United States is or acts as an agent of a foreign principal and must register with FARA.
And there's only 450.
And there's only
of them?
459 of them, and none of them are congressmen, and none of them are people in state. And I called them up one day, and I asked them, who's the registered agent of the United States here in Florida? Because I have a contractual problem I need their assistance with. And that lady goes, what do you mean? I go, I went on your FARA site, and it says that any member of the legislative and the United States, I read her the whole paragraph. She was like, so you think everybody has to be registered? I go, how did I read that wrong? She goes, you read it wrong. I was like, how did I read that wrong?
Yeah.
She goes, you read it wrong. I go, all right, we'll go to the website and you read it to me and show me how I read it wrong. So we went to the website. She's like, where are you? I pointed right to it. It's a fire enforcement page. It's right there on the website. I put the whole paragraph up there.
Right.
So it's right there on the website. So FARA.gov states that anybody in the legislative, executive, or judicial branch of the United States is or acts as an agent of a foreign principal that must register with FARA or a lobbyist thereof. So I asked her, I go, where did I read that wrong?
She got real quiet.
And she just goes, you read it wrong. I go, how did I read that wrong? Show me how I read that wrong, because I didn't ask what it said. I said, how did I read that wrong? And she kept saying, you read it wrong. I go, how did I read that wrong? I read it to her 3 times. Like, how did I read that wrong? You tell me the words I read wrong, and I'll go back and read it to tell me the way you want me to read it. Because right now it appears there's no registered agents in the United States here in America. And we got a problem because all these people are claiming authority of the state.
So that means judges.
All of them. Every
Legislature,
every
every officer, everybody has to be a registered agent. If they're not executing a warrant on behalf of the Treasury and made deputized, they had better be registered as a foreign agent coming to do a debt collection effort.
So if someone comes forward with a valid claim, then that's the next question. Are you registered as a foreign agent?
No, you can always ask what their name is. You can always ask names, nationalities, and citizenship.
Yeah,
nationality and citizenship.
I'll go look it up on the website myself.
You can do that. But they're all foreign agents. Every fucking one of them. Why? They all emanate from D.C. and the United States is a foreign corporation with respect to a state.
Right.
So what they're doing is they're taking control of the U.S. person and claiming you're the citizen. I never fucking took an oath under 2 Stat 153 to become a U.S. citizen. The name itself is always a U.S. citizen. It's a U.S. person.
Right.
But it's public property right now, so you have to move it into the private. That's the purpose of having the records sealed.
Right.
But you got to have a conduit to which you can get to it. So you got to have a trust in place with an EIN number, and so you can connect to it because the Social Security number will also be sealed, so nobody can access public claims. So now you'll have it. Everybody will be the usufruct of whatever you do with it. And now in public, you maintain the illusion, while in private, they know you're alive.
So the first thing I really do need to do is get that birth certificate.
Yeah,
thing
you need
done.
to do that like ASAP.
Yeah,
We're gonna help.
Tim and I have talked about that when we lived in the other
Yeah,
house. It's like,
ASAP, man. You got to have it like yesterday.
yeah.
We're gonna put this
We
into
wanna
the case.
file
Put it on the
that.
record,
Put it on the
Okay.
and
record.
then you're going to deliver it to all the parties.
Right.
Okay.
So we'll actually put it in there. I'm gonna bring some to get a stamp.
And then what
We're
you're going to do is
49
any
to go
notices they
manually
sent you,
walk door to
you're going
door.
to accept them, and you're going to give it back to them.
And the what? I'm sorry.
Any notices they give you or anything, you just accept and give back.
And from any of the moving parties in there, not from a PD that gave you a copy of the warrant. That doesn't count.
So you give everything back. I don't give a fuck what it is.
I wanted to read it. I got a copy. I didn't,
I
whatever.
don't care what it is. You want to give it back.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and help Lisa put together this thing. And then an assignment separate from certificate. Anything else we should put in up front? Any of this? I mean, the notice of indemnification
Just
contract,
put your assignment separate from certificate,
right?
and then you're going to
Copy
put in a
the birth
notice for the
certificate,
taxable
accept it.
termination.
Notice of taxable termination.
No, you're going to put the request, that letter.
Okay, so I'm gonna put together a request for taxable termination. Now, also this thing that says assignment separate from certificate, it goes by and it's undersigned assignor. The assigner would be me.
Yes. And then you go to your bank and
Certifying officer.
Yeah, and go to the bank and have them do a signature guarantee on
Okay, the official stamp or seal. Oh, so maybe we can go get a corporate seal, signature guarantee stamp, or medallion stamp.
it.
No
bank.
certification is not acceptable. The bank will do that. So what I need to do is when we go into the bank, I'll bring in the birth certificate and the original German thing that I've got here. This stuff. Report of travel born abroad and this German stamp. This is James Bernard Head. This is James III. In Germany, they don't recognize the Roman numerals on a name.
Whatever.
So I'm just going to put James the Third and James. I'm going to put them both on one page and bring them in there because they're going to want to see that I am holders of both of those documents.
One of the two separate ones.
Okay, I'll do two separate ones.
So each one of us should put one of those.
I've got this prepared. I already put your name in here. Now we'll
Okay.
go in and I'm not going to print it now. We're just going to go through this. Now the third thing is the notice of taxable termination, and that's on the website.
That's the one you're going to notice request.
That's what we're requesting
You're
from
requesting
them.
it.
Oh,
From
okay,
them.
and
From them.
that's also put into the case.
Yeah, because your discovery packet didn't contain it. You said you gave you discovery, right?
Yeah.
Discovery packet didn't contain the check, nor the warrant, nor a voucher from the U.S. Treasury authorizing the action.
That's that we put in that notice with the request.
Hmm.
Yeah, the discovery's missing some documents.
Discovery's missing some documents. Please show me the warrant bond or order from the Treasury warranting this action.
That needs to definitely go in, and we'll give copies to the judge's assistant.
That's not
and give it
something you
to the
care about. All
prosecutor.
the rest of it's crap.
Right.
Yeah.
The taxable termination, that's like the most important thing.
Yes.
That's what they're operating
That's
under.
what they're.
Right.
That's what they're touting.
Because the
That's what they're using
termination
to
is the
tap into the
termination of
account.
your interests. That's warranting the liquidation of them. And it's
Give
a
me an
capital
analogy.
gain.
Give me something.
All right, from your estate, if you do a transfer out, it's called a capital gain tax.
Right.
All right, so if you're the capital and they're terminating your interest in it, you get the tax because you're a belligerent because they had to terminate you. They had to kill your interest.
Okay.
Because
Give me a
you-
different analogy. Something tangible that I can relate to. Like, say, I don't know, I go.
It's a termination
a
of your
store.
rights.
Remember, belligerents have no rights.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
They have to go, and they're your titles or interests.
Okay.
You lose all right, title, and interest.
Why do you
You're a
think you have to
belligerent.
give money at the store? You're a belligerent. You lost the right to God's merchandise. So where's the determination showing you were like that? Because now the taxable event is a burden on you. It's a burden upon your interests that they're going to put because you did something wrong. You sinned. So now you're going to get judgment and you're going to be put back into purgatory, which is subject to all the rules, statutes, codes, regulations, banks, jails, everything.
The hell on earth.
That's purgatory.
Right.
So what they do is they rise you to life for this transaction. They put all these burdens upon you for your sins, and they shove you back down in purgatory till you work it off.
Right.
That's what they're doing.
To keep you fearful and
Keep you living in scarcity and fear, so you never embrace the Creator. That's you're always in purgatory because your fear is unwarranted. It's unbased.
Now, do you see what's playing out in your psyche in that courtroom when you go in there and you know
Yes.
God's on your side, and immediately you
Because now you bypass that by allowing the Christ to be killed, sent to Hades, which is the land of the dead where you're in now.
right.
And then you surrender your spirit to Christ while he's in Hades, and he'll lift you up and take you with him. That's why you surrender the interest.
And surrendering the interest is requesting that taxable termination.
Surrendering the interest is what you're doing in privately.
Oh,
The taxable termination is the termination on the resulting estate from the interest, showing that you're no longer acquitted and discharged of further obligations. That they're terminating your reciprocation on that contract because you're a belligerent, and a belligerent has taxes. Now the war billeting comes into play, which is the public debt obligation shall not be questioned. You're not questioning the public debt obligation, you're questioning the private debt obligation because you want the tax determination that affords you the liabilities now.
Where's the claim?
Where do I owe payment? Where's the claim?
Where's the claim?
Because you're the executor of the estate that they're coming after. Because they're your interests in the property. I don't care what anybody says. You always have interest in it that revert back to you. Therefore, you're the executor of the estate in reversion. So the second the living man comes bringing out of the dead, everything reverts back to him. What does he do with it? Either he keeps it and goes back into purgatory, or he surrenders it out to Christ and goes up and gets lifted up.
Or signs it to the United States.
Well, that's giving it through Christ to God.
Right. On their terms.
In their terms, right.
Right.
In this earth. On this earth.
However you need to look at it.
So it's always, the acceptance is always two parties. So the acceptance coupled with an assignment. As soon as I get it and I accept it,
Yeah,
Give it to God.
acceptance plus surrender equals delivery. How can you be delivered from
Deliverance.
evil if you don't fucking surrender anything?
Right.
right.
Accepting Christ is not the only way. You've got to surrender to his will,
Right.
which is the Father's will that operates through him.
That's
So
why
you
acceptance is
surrender-
on one side, you flip it over and you assign it on the other.
You surrender the assignment of the interest that would revert back to you for doing all the works in his name, because there's always an inherent risk of that. I don't care how fucking minuscule it is. Reversion is just that there's possibility it occurs.
Right.
So there could be a 1 in a trillion billion chance that you get the glory coming back to you. And what happens is you would be taken away from God. I don't care how much of a chance it is, even if it's 1/100000th of 1%. That's still 1/100000th of 1%. That's not pure.
Right.
So now you're unclean, and there's nothing pure and unclean. So in order to be not pure and not unclean, you have to give it all back. It all goes back in the box. Denial of you being not a U.S. citizen is a corruption of blood. Now they're saying you are a U.S. citizen, and thus they're slave.
Right.
Because they're here on occupational purposes only.
So that label.
If they want to exercise their sovereignty over you, they're saying they completed the conquest, and that's not true.
Right. I like this. Friendly sovereign. I have not read this before.
Oh, you haven't? Then you need to read it.
No, I need to
It
read
shows you
this
what's
one.
going on in the courtroom.
This is a new one.
It's a friendly suit in the courtroom minus the
Right.
actual controversy. Now you're going, okay, well then where's the warrant? Now they're going, well there isn't one. Now who brought the
Okay.
controversy? The one who brought the controversy. Now someone else brought the controversy.
Right.
So now they're fabricating a controversy to establish a claim. What controversy are they fabricating? That you're a belligerent, to establish a claim under the 14th Amendment for what? Services rendered in its support of putting down an insurrection and rebellion, which you're violating a law of the United States, which is what? Just some law of the law of nations, codificated down in a local level.
Okay, so we got a writ of precipice.
And that only that goes in at the end. So if they continue to put a not guilty plea, That's your next fucking filing is the writ
You
of
don't put
presence.
this in right now up front?
You put the second one in first. The one where you're just asking for it.
The taxable termination.
The request for
The request for all the notice of taxable termination. That's the proper
that's not
notice.
this
That's why I
one
told you
here.
I had to read the four claims, the claim,
Right.
the four corners, and what the three questions are, because
Right.
it'll tell you what you're looking for.
The claim.
So this one right here, that right there is what you're looking for, notice of non-consent. So according to Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 73, all parties must consent to these hearings. You didn't consent because you got no notice of a taxable termination event as a result of an alternative agreement. And now they're trying to force one on you by saying, do you plead guilty or not guilty? That's the alternative agreement you're coming to in that fucking courtroom. Either way, you're taking the liability away from the one who brought the claim.
Right. Because they don't have to now produce it.
Right, because you just entered a plea.
You just voluntarily.
Entered into the matter. So you agreed to be substitute trustee, which when you go up here, there's semantics involved. Because everybody wants to get caught up in the semantics. Represent equals insurance, equals surety, equals subrogation, equals substitute trustee. All those words mean exactly the same fucking thing.
Right.
So if you're going to represent yourself, you're agreeing I am insurance.
I am
the surety.
trustee.
I'm the substitute trustee that's going to take over this matter and get the liability. That's what you're doing when they say, are you representing yourself? Why would I want the liability, Your Honor?
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to know who has a claim against me. So do you have the claim? That's my discovery, and it was missing in the package. I didn't see the bond, the warrant, nor voucher authorizing this activity, so now I'm coming to you to ask, where's the claim? Because if it's not there, then it's just fabrication of controversy, which is what?
A crime.
No, contempt of court.
Contempt of court.
How could I be in contempt of court, Your Honor? I'm not the one fabricating the controversy.
Right. I mean, that makes complete sense to me.
I just came in here and asked for a claim. You all the ones who arrested me and already exercised the benefit of a contract by putting me in jail. By putting you in jail, they already exercised the benefit of a contract. Do exactly what they fucking do to you to them. By using this money, you agree to these terms. That's a contract. It's an invisible contract.
Right.
Fine. By you putting me in your fucking jail, you just entered into a contract, and now I need to know where the claim is.
Yep. Oh,
Ding,
gosh,
ding,
I get
ding,
it.
ding.
Yep,
Do y'all
I get
understand
I
it
got
now?
that now.
Yeah.
They've already exercised the
They've
benefit of
already
a
got it.
contract.
Now let's get the paperwork back in place.
That's right. Now,
With this
where's the
original
claim you're
contract, I don't
operating
wanna
under?
recontract
Because
anything.
if you're operating under an actual claim, you would have the warrant and the voucher and everything else for me
Right.
to accept, and then I would go peacefully because now there's a validated warrant, a claim, an affront against God. All right.
Yeah.
So there must be something there. If there's nothing there, then all I've got here is a bunch of people trying to fill their cells to fill their fucking pensions,
Right.
and they're abusing the process.
Right.
So they already make the exercise of the benefit when they arrest you. It's
Right.
done. It's done at that point. That's the benefit exercised and found. They benefited by you being there because why? They automatically got monies
Got
for your
paid
stay.
for that.
They
We
benefited
even
from
saw
it.
the bill that they charge for the officers get like a spiff every time that they look at
Exactly.
one.
Every
They
time they write a
benefit.
ticket, they
So
get
every one of these guys
$25.
just benefited from your property. What is your property?
what is my property?
What is your property on
The
this
state.
planet? No. What is your fucking property?
Life, liberty, and
My
pursuit
fucking
of-
time.
Yeah.
It's a limited quantity. It's an unlimited value because it's such a limited quantity you can never get it back.
Right.
It's the only resource on this whole planet that doesn't
Non-renewable.
regenerate. It's a non-renewable resource.
Right.
It's time.
Yep.
So they got benefit of your time by getting paid for the time they took,
Right.
for the time they held you. So they got the benefit from it. So now you're going in, where was the claim upon which that relief was warranted? And if you can't show it, then this is an unwarranted action, and now everybody's in there in their private capacities. And now what do you have? You have at least two people are engaged in a conspiracy to defraud the United States through insurance fraud via the 14th Amendment and the War Powers Act and the Bank Conversion Act and the War Risk Insurance Act and the Trading with the Enemy Act.
Of course.
And violation of 1 USC 112 because you've done your job under 95A and they've had previous notice of it. And you may have done or admitted something in good faith, but you didn't know you had to do it because nobody told you.
Right.
So under law of nations, guess what you get to do? You get to arrange your affairs in any way that achieves your own protection under Book 2, Article 192. Because you've been abandoned by those entrusted to protect you because they're all making private claims against you in an attempt to rape you.
Right.
So they've all abandoned you. Now I have no choice but to rearrange my affairs, and I have no choice but to report this to the higher ups because it's an 18 U.S.C. 4 violation. To not do it means I'm now the principal and accessory to it.
Right.
Yep.
And all the liabilities off them and on me.
I don't
It's
want to.
Jewish
You're a
fucking law.
You're a co-conspirator.
This is Jewish fucking law.
Yep. That's what.
They always turn the victim into the
about that.
fucking one who did it.
Yeah.
You
what's
never
his name?
claim victimhood.
Hartford Van Dyke always talks about
You
that.
never claim victimhood status. You say, I got to do this because you all are doing this. I can't claim victimhood status if I don't report it to someone else. I'm not going to claim victimhood, so I'm just not going to tolerate you doing it. So you can do whatever the fuck you want. I know I'm true in my actions. I'm staying true to my creator because that's my duty under the law of nations, to stay true to my creator while I'm not assisting this from pirates. And it appears y'all are pirating the treasury because y'all don't have a warrant authorizing you're doing this. So therefore there's no commission. Therefore there's no letter of marque. Therefore you have no license to practice law. Now you're an unregistered foreign agent. For me to do business with you and broker this deal by even entering a plea means I'm trading with the enemy.
Hence, sovereign citizen.
Hence, sovereign citizen. It's a word to get you to fight them.
Right.
They're the ones who are claiming to be sovereign citizens, thinking they have the right to do anything they want.
Right.
Okay.
Do you see how easy it gets turned around?
Yeah.
Once you understand what you're asking for, and once they don't have it, now you see the ramifications of the actions.
Right.
But you're not the one who's going to punish them.
Right.
You just report it to God. God, you pray to God. God, can you please protect me from these people that doing these ill works in your name, but not for your glory.
Right.
You know, if I'm supposed to be punished, let me be punished, but I don't believe that's the case. So can you please help me out here? Just like Job.
Well, and you have to turn them into the IRS.
No, you turn them into the IRS
their bonds.
CID, you turn into the CID, you turn into the SEC because they're passing on these CUSIP bonds through Chicago. There's counterfeit securities going on because now they're trying to get you in a state of literacy that didn't exist or effectuated insurance payment that should never have happened. That's insurance fraud, securities.
That's the fourth step.
That's who you report it to.
That's
and you
what
do it under
holds them-
misprision of felony because you believe that they're doing counterfeit securities because you never agreed to these proceedings.
That's what holds them accountable.
Right, and they forced you into a brokerage by holding themselves out to be of the state, but all they were using was the force and power of the state. They didn't have any authority from the state, from the ones who had the authority. They're not agents. They're unlicensed, unregistered agents. They're unlicensed brokers. They're Confederates.
And they're belligerents.
Yes, but they're trying to turn it. And right now, the people are belligerents, thinking that they have to defend themselves, and that's
Right.
how they're justifying this shit.
Right.
Because we thinking and we have to defend ourselves.
Right.
So if you run away from one of them, they think you're in trouble. They think you're a fugitive slave.
Right.
So they're going to taser you and do all the other shit they
Yep.
do to people.
Yep.
But if you stand your ground and ask where the claim is, they can never answer that question because they can only get violent with you.
Right.
They can only do that. When they lose control of the verbal, they go completely physical. That means if they can't answer your question, they get really defensive and they go physical, thinking that they're under threat. Well, they are under threat, but by their own actions, not by ours.
Right.
Because what's the problem? If you can't answer the question, what's the problem?
Yeah. Why are we even here?
Why are we even here?
Why are we
I mean,
here?
unless your intention is not honorable,
Right.
why are we here? I don't feel like being raped today. How many times does no mean no?
Well, I said
And I'm not going to allow the United States to be raped in my stead because I'm fearful of you.
I said some of
Eat a
those
dick.
things. Oh, let me go back to. Remember, I said I wanted to talk to you about the thing. I realized something about courtroom. When you go in there for traffic court, you know, everybody goes in and they're made to sit on the right-hand side.
Right.
Then they take you up alphabetically and they line you up in those chairs on the left side. And then they take you up to the podium.
Mhm.
There's no bar at that court.
Yes, there is.
There's always a bar.
Yes, there is.
When you go up to the podium, there's no thing that
There
you
always
go
There
through.
always is.
Yeah, there is. You go. There's a whole line of chairs on one side of a fence. And that one.
And I
line
remember
right
the
there is
day I
bar.
went in there to
So
court.
there's an
and
invisible line.
I went in there
That's
on a
what you're
traffic
saying.
matter one time, and I had a depositional affidavit that I sent in saying that there's no evidence that the name serves use the one recognized. Okay. Sent in there, the public defender was sitting and reading that damn thing over and 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 over again. All 15, 20 minutes while I was waiting. So they finally call the name. They finally call it, and I get up right before I get to the bar. I go, "Ma'am, I'm here for that matter. There's a mistake. Where's the proper notice I may deal with this matter honorably, and may I enter?"
So you agreed to come on board the ship.
Hold on. She goes, "What's your name again?" And I go, "Ma'am, I'm here for this matter." I repeated it. I go, "May I enter?" At that point, the bailiff stood in front of me. Every lawyer in that room, except the public defender, got up and bum rushed the judge. There were like 6 or 7 of them around the judge. And the only thing, and then I went, can we swear into witnesses before they offer testimony to this court? And the bailiff goes, no, and started walking towards me. And he walked me out as I was walking backwards. And as I got to the outer doors, she goes, tell him he's excused today.
Yeah, see, when we go into this arraignment, we're not crossing the bar.
No, you're here for the matter because there's a mistake.
Right.
And you're looking for the taxable termination against the estate because you're the holder. That's all you're there for. That's it. That's all you're there for is to get the notice.
Right. That's it.
And that's the notice from
Nothing
Treasury
else.
that this prize court has been convened because you've been found guilty of something.
So
Because there's an actual tax owed.
So what we've discussed is that we're not gonna go past the bar. That's what we've discussed.
You want to try and keep it away from that. It doesn't matter if you go in or not. I did it because it was comfortable. I tell people, do what you're comfortable with.
Right. And usually, though,
I don't think that they will even speak to either one of us if we don't go.
No, but I've got, you know what? I don't have a problem with saying permission to come aboard.
Right. We talked about that too.
May I enter?
May I enter? Can I come aboard your ship, Admiral?
You know, and then it's going to be, do you have a claim?
Right.
Just like that.
If they ever command something to do, you have to turn around and ask a question.
Right.
Because you're as king. You're coming out.
Yeah, and they're going to go, well, who are you? You could always say, well, I'm the one that was arrested, or do you have the claim against me?
Yeah. I'm the one whose time was taken.
Yeah, I'm the one. Yeah, you were. I mean, it all goes down to they've already experienced the benefit. The second the case is filed, they've already experienced the benefit.
I'm the one whose time you've experienced the benefit from. I want to know where's the taxable.
No, where's the claim? Because if they can't state a claim, what is it then? Are you telling me there's no claim to be stated upon which the relief sought should be granted? 12b-6. How many times have we been told that? 12b-6, 12b-6, 12b-6. You haven't stated a claim. Fine. I'm asking you to state the claim. If you can't do it, 12b-6.
That's the final thing you say as you're leaving. You say, I request the order of court be released unto me. And 12b-6, have a good day.
Yeah.
Just remind them, failure to state a claim upon which relief
yeah, it appears there's no claim upon which this relief should be sought. So I hereby require the order of the court be delivered to me immediately.
12b-6.
So what's the problem? And if they keep going, what's the problem? Where's the claim upon which this relief sought should be granted? Why should I enter a plea to something when you can't even show me there's a claim against me?
Love that question.
Really? If you can't show me where there's a claim, what evidence do you have that I have a duty to do anything you fucking tell me to do?
At least I want you to listen to this 5 times over.
But all you're doing is asking for the claim, and if they can't state it, why are we here, and why are you asking me to plead to something that doesn't exist? Guilty to what? What am I pleading guilty to? The fact there's not a claim? I mean, is that the facts here today?
Well, there's already a claim. There's already a plea of not guilty.
And if he goes into this, there's a factual basis for the claim. And go, Your Honor, I didn't ask for the factual basis for a claim. I asked for the claim itself.
Right.
I can make up stuff. I can make up stuff all day long too. So where's the claim?
Right.
And if he asks what claim, you go, okay, where's the bond, voucher, or warrant issued from the Treasury authorizing this debt collection effort?
Did you hear that question?
Mm-hmm.
That's one that Elvig doesn't ask. That puts the meat on the bones of Elvig's basic question.
Yeah, where is it? And if they go, well, are you telling me y'all are making private claims here today? I mean, are you all insured to go into private commerce using your public positions? I mean, you get all kinds of wonderful questions if you want to.
Yeah, you could get creative.
I don't think your oath and bond covers you moving into private making claims using your public position. I mean, you do have a bond, right? You do have an oath, right? Or am I dealing with a rogue foreign agent who's impersonating public officials
and isn't even registered?
Those are
an unregistered foreign agent who's impersonating a public official.
All right, and then what about that request for taxable termination? That's what we're filing.
That's notice of non-consent right here.
Yeah, that's the notice of non-consent.
That's what we're filing.
Yes.
Notice
of non-consent. I've got it open on my computer as document 1.
Okay.
But we're going to go ahead, and this is another thing. It's signed to private citizen. We get this notarized or anything like that.
No, just put it in there just like that.
Just put it in there.
All right,
Okay.
but we have to format with the headers and crap at the top. Otherwise, they don't see it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have their little signal on
Whatever.
symbol crap
Yeah.
at the top.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
I got
still, it's mechanical bullshit.
No, they can ignore whatever they choose to ignore, but the facts remain. You asked. You don't have to do what the lawyers do. You're not a fucking lawyer.
Right. I'm not, and I never claimed to be either, nor do I want to be one.
Yeah, I'm not in here to represent or bring any controversy before this court. I'm here to help you solve one. So where's the claim?
Love that question.
That's a beautiful prelude too. I'm not here to bring controversy. I'm here to settle it.
Yeah, I'm here to help. So I'm here to figure out what, settle a matter. So where's the claim?
Right.
There's no controversy here. I'm not here to fabricate one.
Yeah, I'm not here to fabricate a controversy. I'm just asking where the claim is. And if you can't deliver the claim, if someone's trying to fabricate one, so would you be trying to fabricate a controversy in contempt of your own court? Like, you're in contempt of court of what? Someone trying to fabricate a controversy, Your Honor? Are you trying to fabricate a controversy in contempt of your own court and trying to put it on me that I'm in contempt of it?
No, that's a ballsy question to ask.
I know.
You don't.
I know.
You shouldn't be asking that one.
I don't know that I can do that.
No, this is a very rhetorical question is what he's asking.
I know.
This is
I
not
know
something
that.
to say
I'm in contempt of a contempt court. You're right. I guess that's the fact here.
So
today,
be
that
it.
I'm in contempt of a contempt court. So
Right.
be it.
Right. And if they put me in jail, I don't think I'll stay too long.
No, you will get a visit from the black suits.
Not on something like that. I
Probably
won't.
will get a visit. Yeah.
They won't even get me past booking
They'll just throw you in jail. Basically,
because I'd be asking everybody, "What do you have a claim against me? What's your name? Do you have a claim against me? What's your name? Do you have a claim against me? What is your name?" If they don't respond to protest, now I have a contract with them. Where do you have a proof of any claim? Just following orders doesn't cut it anymore, guys. Nuremberg, man, you're making crimes in international law by saying, okay, this guy kidnapped you and moved you over to make war against the nation you just got kidnapped from. That's kidnapping, man-stealing. That's a hangable offense.
That's a Shanghai offense. That's international kidnapping.
That's international law. That's a violation of international law. And anybody who violates international law is subject to international law. It doesn't matter if it's not codified or if it's readily readable. That's what Nuremberg says, the very first two premises. Just because it's not written in the law of the other nations doesn't mean it doesn't exist. We're going UN. UN is the fucking trustee.
Right. So you're saying that when you're in booking and they ask you your name?
Well, what's your name?
Oh, we got one of those.
I had
Solitary,
somebody
Again.
when I went into
Exercise the benefit of a contract.
the fingerprint area, and I asked the guy, I said, what if I don't consent? He goes, well, then you're just going to sit in booking forever. And I said,
Oh, you're threatening me?
okay.
So you're telling me I'm going to be in prison if I don't consent? So I have to be consenting.
Now, how can I consent now that you've threatened me?
Yeah.
How can I possibly give consent? Now everything's under threat, duress, and coercion. How can I possibly give you my consent? You just made it physically impossible for me to even sign. Now you understand that a signature involves knowledge of consent. I can't consent. I'm being forced to scribble. This is scribble, and it's not a signature.
Yeah.
You know,
This makes you happy.
I know why they did things the way they did things.
There's a couple initials you could put
VC.
before your name.
VC.
VC.
I know why.
TDC or all rights reserved.
Yeah, TDC. And one judge asked, he goes, "What's this after your name?" I was like, "TDC." He's like, "What does that mean?" I go, "What would the dude do? What would the do? Threat, duress, or coercion? Why?" He goes, "When did you feel threat, duress, or coercion?" I go, "What happens if I don't sign that ticket?"
Yeah.
He didn't have nothing to say after that point.
Right.
Yeah. Or what you do is what Lisa did the whole time. She firmly rested on what? What do you firmly rest on? 12 U.S.C. 95A2. Whenever they said sign, she writes 12 U.S.C. 95A2.
Everything in jail, I said
every
12
single
USC.
time.
Everything.
Yeah.
The medical thing.
She said,
the release,
I did that too.
everything.
They say, what is this? I go, signature. Well, this looks like a code. And are you going to tell me how I sign my name? Sign 12.
Well, I know.
Now you do it 40 stat 411. The statutes at large are the law. So you're going to sign the law.
40 stat 411 is just a
40 stat
statute of the codification of the 12 U.S.C.
No, that is the law. It's evidence of the law. 12 U.S.C. 95A2 is the prima facie. The statute at large is actually the law, the evidence of the law that's applicable inside the state. I just use 12 U.S.C. 95A2 because it's easier to find.
I do not want them here. I am afraid.
Yeah, 40 stat 411. They don't like it? Fuck them. That's why the last time I was in there, I was instructed to just sit back and watch what's going on. And you'll see everything unfold in front of you, what's happening in that courtroom. And buddy, it all got revealed. I sat back like it was like I was a third party perspective outside my own body.
Well, see, you have the ability to do that.
And it was, I could see what was going on. I could see what they're doing. Everything got revealed to me. I was like, okay. I was like, I see what's going on here. Falsify insurance claim by providing a factual basis for a claim.
Where did you see this?
In the courtroom.
When were you-
With anybody?
When I was in for the IRS stuff,
Mhm.
they did me for the traffic arraignment too. So in the traffic
Right.
court, I got to sit
Right.
back and I just did the no contest thing and just got done with that. Because what are they going to do? Suspended license?
I know.
So I sat back and I watched what they were doing. And one dude goes, yeah, he's a sovereign citizen. And I thought about arguing that. And I was like, no, we're just let this go. And then they went, well, what's the factual basis for a claim? And at that point, it hit me. I was like, wait a minute. Because I did the whole trust thing. I went up there and said some bullshit. I appreciate what you're trying to do, but do you want to settle this today? I'm like, whatever. So they said factual basis for a claim. And as soon as I heard that, I went, holy shit, this is insurance fraud. Because because a factual basis for the claim is a police report saying there was an accident.
Right.
And then you go down to the insurance adjuster without the car and only present the police report, and the insurance adjuster pays you.
Right.
Well, now I can take that police report,
And
take
go
the car, and go
else.
somewhere else,
Right.
and get second payment on it. Because how can you prove it was ever paid?
Right.
Because he never saw the car. He never had a claim. He never really did a claim on it. It's the same damn thing. Because the cops are going to overestimate the amount of the damage, because the statutes are all dependent on the amount of damage done.
That's why this is called grand theft of a house.
Yep.
Right.
And this is nice big $50,000.
But it's all insurance fraud, and the insurance they're frauding now is the Social Security as a result of the people being the insurance for their country. So they're defrauding the people through their treasury, representing false claims to the trustees of that treasury, which is the treasury, which is the IMF, and they're doing it through Chicago. So all the claims get liquidated through Chicago onto the markets, and that's how they're getting everything paid. The liens remain out there. It's called derivatives of debt, and that goes against the people.
How's that?
Because the debt always goes back to the principal, and the people are always the principal. So once they show back up, the debt becomes due. That's why you do the reversion. So you never get an accounting. You always do a reversion. And now
So
whatever will come back to you
zero.
automatically comes back to them, goes back to them.
Right.
And now they hold both sides of the ledger of the legal and equitable
So
title
just
and two
stays
separate
zero.
accounts. And now it stays at zero.
There's always got to be two accounts.
There's always got to be two accounts.
Right. Debits and credits.
Right. You have an account receivable and an account payable. That's why I told everybody on that account, on the account article in there, I take the definition of account and then I do it backwards. And what you get is the account in public and the account how it's supposed to operate on the Social Security side. On the private, that's the Social Security account.
Cool.
You just flip it over and make a mirror image of it and read it backwards.
You just do
Right,
that. You
right.
make it sound so easy.
No, he does. I spend 4 hours reading to study one thing he says. Sometimes.
I know, me too.
Should be this just an account right there. Account.
Account. I don't think I've ever read this one.
So what you do is here's the account definition here, and it is not term it. So now you read it backwards, and that's what it tells you. An account is set up to cover the expenses of a chartered vessel on its voyage while it incurs the expenses while on the voyage. But it's set up in public so someone can charge the account. So there's some way to get the payment of the expenses of the vessel while it's on its voyage. But when its voyage is done, and then the account comes due. So now you flip it over, and now the account gets paid by the amount of what was due to the voyage.
To zero out.
To zero
Right.
out.
Because both sides of the account have to.
And right,
Right,
now,
they have to stay at zero.
and right now you only have one side of the account open. You only have the public side. You don't have the private side open.
Through the looking glass.
Now we do the private side, and on the private side you have it open. Now you have a way to effectuate the balance of the accounts, because on the private side you give it all over to the state in adherence to the declaration, so you get the protection.
Right.
And your sacred honor is that it always goes back. So whatever would come to you, you automatically revert it back,
Right.
because it has to.
Right.
Because that's part of your fortune. Your debt is part of your fortune. It's not just the positive, it's also the negatives. And your fortune is what? Your earthly inheritance, which is what? Your usufruct. That goes back into the kitty. The usufruct is what reverts back to you every time, because everybody's a usufruct of your property. So
Right.
the usufructuary interest is what the reversion is on your estate.
We're just not handling it right.
You're just taking it back. And with that, they don't want to pay their taxes, so the debts come due as soon as it hits the living man again, because it was done in probate. Now the living man turns around and does it on the private side. Now on the public side, it's all taken care of, because what reverts? And just creates a natural flow. And then in the meantime, you're in the little middle of the donut of the donut on the end of the torus coil thing.
Right.
You're that middle, and what you do is your job is to drag it back and let it go out, and then drag it back, let it go out, drag it back,
Right.
and that's how it keeps it going. So what you do is you have your magnet on the bottom side,
Sign it.
and you just drag your magnet on the
Right.
private side, and you drag the usufruct on the public side. But it can't help but do that. And along the
Right.
way, you're nurturing it through your private to effectuate the fruit you want out of the public. And that's all you're doing.
Right.
So you become your own. You
And then
become your
you
own
sign
entity.
it back so that puts it back out again.
Right. And then you assign it. Now it rubber bands back. It just shoots back. And what you do now is you made your one coil. You made your coil. And now you have your coil. And now everybody else can come and make their coils. And now what do you have? You have the donut within the donut.
Yeah.
Now you have it on you have it on many different levels where the toric coil fits. This way, you got it this way, you got all the dimensions start lining up, and now you start seeing God, or your aura starts to appear, because all your aura is what? Your electromagnetic shield. Your magnet is the same thing, and that's how you represent it in that public side, and it fixes up your mirror within as you're doing it, so the reflection you give out is that of a peacemaker or a son of God, the sun, the light that shines from within. And now anytime you shine from within, you have your mirrors all completed. You can only effectuate one image from without. You don't get distorted images or shattered mind, scatterbrain. It's not the disco ball inside.
Yeah, that would be me.
That's
It's everybody.
Exercise.
I'm that way still too. I still have things to fix in my own mirror.
Right.
Nobody's perfect. That's why we're here.
That's right.
But it's the way sentient beings evolve. As they come down, they shatter their soul and shatter their mind, their heart. They fix it back together. It makes them stronger and more resilient to keep going on.
Right.
And that's how they evolve. It's the divine process of nurture and nature. You nurture your nature, and then the nature becomes your nurture. And you start nurturing and nurturing yourself.
Right.
And you start colonizing your own mind and everything else.
So then what's your thought about this other stuff then? You know, this is the indemnification.
Don't do it.
You can put whatever you want in there, but remember, your assignment must go with this, or this doesn't work.
Right.
So you have to have the assignment somewhere on a
Bring the
public
birth
record.
certificate in.
So you have to have the assignment on a birth certificate. On a record somewhere.
The assignment certificate is.
Assignment without the contract.
The assignment.
Without the.
It doesn't matter if you got a birth certificate on it or not. Just the assignment. The assignment itself is what you
Assignment
need.
is the action.
Yes.
That's the thing that 12 USC rests on.
Right. And now you're no longer a corporate stockholder. If you're no longer a corporate capital stockholder, there's no transfer of any capital. Therefore, no capital gains tax that you're going to be liable for. So the capital gain is on the loss and the gain.
So you're saying get rid of the pension thing, huh?
No, not to get rid of the pension thing. Get rid of the corporate stockholder.
No. I mean, remember I sent you that on a different note. Was that
That you got this pension
the
sitting around
pension sitting
somewhere?
around?
I don't
Yeah.
care about the pension.
Whatever.
The pension's yours. That's your energy. You're allowed to accept that all you want.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is because that's your energy you put into it.
Right. That's
Right.
what Howie said too.
You're allowed to accept that. That's your energy. But your interest, as
fine.
far as the corporate stock is concerned, you don't want that, because that makes you the stockholder or the owner of the corporation.
I don't
Right.
think that
The fat of
It's a
the camel that keeps you getting
non-profit.
from the end to the eye.
it's a nonprofit organization. There won't be any stock.
No, it doesn't. Of the name.
Oh, of the name. Oh,
The name
okay.
is a one share of stock in the state of Michigan that you're an owner of.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
That's what it represents.
gotcha.
It's being held in that street name,
Right.
but it's one share of stock and a
Okay.
broker account, and you're the broker who is self-employed to broker her own deals
Okay, gotcha.
to make the profits for herself,
That's what
that she gets
yeah.
the self-employment taxes.
Until you assign it.
Yeah, until you assign it away. I mean, we all noticed that the Social Security office, they force you to be that name, force you to say the name. Secret Service has already told us that's illegal.
Really?
The Secret Service knows that name and you aren't the same.
Really?
They know. My friend in Colorado's been on the phone with them. She knows quite a bit. They also told us once you get recognized as the estate holder, it's basically game over.
That's Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically game over. And you do that through the Social Security office. We know exactly what has to be done. We're just in the process of getting a couple steps in place because everything else is already ready.
Right.
And then once we're done, we can, kind of instruct others. We're not going to give them the ABCs of it. You do this, and that. So we're going to tell them what needs to be done.
Right.
And the first thing they're all going to do is taught them to watch Man in Black.
I love that movie. He had just
Black. How did they get rid of Will Smith's identity? What was the process?
Will Smith's identity.
What did Tommy
The
Lee
first one.
Yeah, the first one. How did they get rid of his identity? What went? What order?
Damn, I don't remember.
I don't remember.
They took him into that big room,
Uh-huh.
the big white room, when there wasn't anything in there.
Okay.
And then didn't he do the pen thing where it just zapped his?
No. How'd they get rid of his identity in the computer? When Tommy Lee Jones is sitting there and erasing his identity, what was the sequence of events?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Driver's license, Social Security card, birth certificate.
Really?
The birth certificate gives rise to the social security card that gives rise to the driver's license. In order to get rid of them, get out of the system, you have to get rid of them in that same systematic order. In reverse.
Backwards?
So
Yeah.
the driver's license, you usually get a passport. The passport, you usually get the social security card to get the estate holder status. Then you nuke then as soon as you get the passport, you nuke the driver's license. The passport now serves as your identification. So you get that to get the social security card to a estate holder. Once you get the estate holder, now you terminate your election to be treated as such and such and let them know about it. And then you set up the birth certificate to be deposited in a secondary trust, which is an estate EIN, and you have the identification so you can just pass through.
Okay. Lisa's sitting here with her head turning around.
Because you got to get rid of the driver's license.
Glad you understand that.
The driver's license has to go first, then the social security card has to go next, and then the birth certificate has to go third. After that, your identity is erased and it's placed in a private trust. The record is sealed.
Okay. I've tried to get rid of the driver's license, and
You
they.
just give it over to them.
I already did that, and they
Use the form from
ignore it.
California.
I used.
They have mine, but now mine's listed as voluntary service.
Yes, mine is too.
See, him and I both did the exact same process, and his got taken care of, and mine did not.
I figured noticing them is good enough.
Nope.
No, noticing them is good enough.
Oh.
Whatever they want to do with it, they can fucking do with it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
You know, if I give a guy over a check and I've given him notice of payment or something, he doesn't cash the check ever.
That's his
Does it
fault.
mean he didn't get paid?
Right. Okay,
He
I
was sent
gotcha.
a check. I don't give a fuck what he
Okay.
does with it.
So then the next thing is the social security
Same
card.
thing with the assignment, the 12 USC 9582 with the birth certificate. They didn't send me anything back. They got it.
They never gave you a notice that the contract you have with the U.S. is invalid. You've accepted the contract that's put in place by the President and the Secretary of State and signed off by the Comptroller. Okay, these guys are running shit through there that goes through the Treasury and the banking system. That's under control of the Comptroller, who signed off on something of the Treasury that said if you do this, then you're acquitted and discharged further obligation. So who is anybody to argue with you? Who are they arguing with at that point?
Them.
Right. They're saying an act of Congress holds no meaning nor weight. Which is what?
Insurrection.
Insurrection and rebellion.
Yeah,
Who's the belligerent now?
they
The
are.
one denying 1295A has weight.
Right.
Now they're in violation. of
So they're
Freedom of
purposely dumbed it down to not, because I'm thinking that most of those judges and people in there, they don't get that. They're
That's why
purposely
you keep it on
dumb.
you have the claim against me.
Right.
And if they
Exactly.
say, and if they say the state has a claim against you, what's your response then?
Where's the state?
No.
Is
Is
there
anybody
somebody
here in a name not other than their own have a claim against me? Because the state of Florida is just a fictitious entity that
Right.
people make a claim to.
That's
The placeholder.
but in the 90s, what I did is I said, the state, is there somebody here named, is there someone here named the state? And they go, oh, the prosecutor. And then I started with him. I said, prosecutor,
No, what's your name?
what is your name?
He's
Man, I
gonna
have your
say
name.
state of Florida, so he's going to say his name is so-and-so. He goes, you're
Oh.
not the state of Florida. I thought the state of Florida had a claim. Do you have a claim against me?
That's what I
And he's
did.
going to say the state of Florida again. He goes, okay, Mr. Witness, we'll take you. I reserve the right for cross-review and rebuttal on this guy. You know, it's one of those things that you just go right down the list because who's the state of Florida? The state of Florida can be anybody. It's just a placeholder.
It's an artificial entity.
That's why that name, that capital name is just a placeholder. It could be anybody, but the one using it obviously has the interest in it, therefore is the estate holder of it.
Right.
Obviously, because it has interest and it's considered self-employed because it's not classified as anything else.
Right.
So if it's self-employed, then the self that's using it is the one employing it for their purposes.
And if they turn around and ask you after you've done this, well, what is your name?
Well, what is your name?
Well, now it's because you gave me your name. So I'll use you. I'll use yours.
No, just keep on going. Do you have a claim against me? Do you know anyone who has a
I
claim?
want a name or I'm going to hold you in contempt. And then we go back down that path.
Right.
That's what,
Are you attempting? Actually, if they're going to say that, then the next question out of my mouth would be: are you attempting to fabricate a controversy?
Right.
Are you attempting to fabricate a controversy to establish a claim?
Yep. I love that question.
that's a great one.
I
'Cause that's
love
contempt.
that
And he says,
question.
if you're in contempt, I'm going, yeah. All right, I accept your offer that I'm contempt of a contempt court.
Right. I love that.
Now, where's your claim?
Where is it? Because it has to be a tangible thing, right? It has to be something I can pick up and hold and look at.
Hand me your
It
claim.
has to be a check. It has to be the money order, the voucher, something of value that was issued, so you can have
Somebody's
something to
vouching.
accept. Right now, you have nothing to accept.
Because I remember when I was in court, when he threw me in jail, when he took me into custody, I said something about, I need you to give me a bill. I need something. And he's like, nope, bailiff. And that's when they put the cuffs on me. When I asked that question, that's when I went. And I didn't
So
have
you're telling me there's
the
nothing for me to accept.
knowledge or the mindset to say that.
Yeah.
I think it's because I was getting close and they didn't want any of that in there.
Yeah. That's why you don't give them a chance. So if you ask certain questions and now they don't answer it, 3 questions and it's over. You should be able to get to the bottom of anything in 3 questions. I've made women cry in 3 questions. Didn't mean to, but I've done it. I made people just go holy shit in 3 questions. I made a judge go shit on the bench with 3 questions.
With 1 question.
3. What's your name? Can you have a claim? Do you have a claim against me? Do you know anybody who has a claim? And she said state of Florida. And immediately went shit.
And she went shit on the bench.
Oops.
3 questions. You should be able to get to the bottom of any matter in 3 questions. Especially this.
So if they said the state of Florida, she's
She
messed.
just testified a fiction as a claim.
That's
And
right.
that's a contempt of court as well.
Wow.
So that means the whole court is in contempt. For the fiction of law.
Wow. That means we're done here today. I'll be on
So-
my way.
I think we're done here for good.
Yeah. So you're telling me a fiction of law here has a, are you telling me that someone here has a claim and a name other than their own? Isn't that contempt? And they go, what hold you in contempt? Are you telling me I'm in contempt of a contempt court then?
I love that. Love that.
Yeah, you just have to look at it through common sense and understand you have a basic game plan because everything operates basically the same way.
Right.
Which is why I wanted everybody to read Operation of a Claim, and I put the 4 corners on there so you can
Right.
see how easy this really is
Right.
and how easy you get tricked into it.
Right.
Because you get tricked into it because they call you names and you want to defend yourself
Right.
because you have a feeling you have to,
Right.
like you have some sort of ego trip down here on Earth.
Exactly.
Why would yourself prove yourself worthy on Earth when Earth is Satan's environment?
Right. Why do I have to prove myself here?
Yes, I'm not here to prove myself here. I'm here to operate my
bargain with God.
existence and keep my bargain with God and prove myself worthy there.
There.
So that can then come down on Earth.
Right.
So it can be merged into one.
Yep.
If I try and prove myself worthy on Earth, all I'm doing is feeding someone else's ego.
Yep. Yep.
That's it. That's all
Yep.
I'm doing. Therefore, the Holy Trinity of I don't give a shit what you think.
Lily the knee.
Because I don't
That's why I
answer
got
to you. It's called a Nunya level event.
A what?
A Nunya level event.
Nunya.
Nunya business.
Yeah.
Nunya level event.
Yeah.
I've told that to people who prosecutors and stuff like that. And I go, that's a Nunya level event. And they go, what do you mean? I go, what makes you think that's part of your business? It's a Nunya level event.
Right.
All right, that wraps it up for tonight. And make sure you share and subscribe to our channel. Good night.